not just, but like kind of recently from a 3-week trip away from home. So my husband and I didn't see each other for about, three weeks, and it felt a little awkward when I got back, just kind of like, this kind of lack of connection, right? And so I was in the kitchen like the day after I arrived, just cooking and watching some of my favorite stand-up comedians. And I was watching Joe List. He's really good. I haven't seen him. And he was just getting to a punchline when suddenly my husband walked in the door. He was just home early from work, unexpectedly. And I just felt really like awkward and exposed. It was like, what the hell are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here yet. I don't know why. It just felt like he got me cheating on him with another man, like on the kitchen counter or something, instead of just listening to stand-up. And maybe it was because like Joe's punchline was, "I'm gonna die or take a shit." And I don't remember what the joke was anymore. That was just the punchline, but like it just sounds like talking dirty, right? Like it's like, "Oh baby, if you do that to me one more time, I swear I'm gonna die or take a shit." That's kind of kinky, right? And and I forgot to mention, I was also butt naked at the time when you walked through the door. I mean, yeah, I like to cook naked. Like, is that so wrong? Like, is that really weird? I mean, honestly, I'm cooking for my own family, and I breastfed both my children. So, like, you could say in a way that, my husband and my children, they've already had a taste of me, in one way or another. So, it's not even weird, right? Okay, so topic change. I'm not a huge fan of dogs. I've never lived with a dog, and I don't know how to communicate with them. When a dog is barking at me, I think, I'm not sure what you're saying, but it feels like you want to kill me, so I'm just going to go that way. That's most of my interactions with dogs. And like if I was a character in a Disney movie, you would immediately know that I'm one of the bad guys, because just think about it. Think of any Disney movie. If you see someone walking down the street and they see a puppy and they just reach out, they're like, "Oh, hey little fella," and they pet the puppy, that's going to be a good guy, right? And if you see another person walking down the street, they see that same puppy and they kind of frown, and then they shoot the puppy. That's going to be the bad guy. It's just a little subtle cue. So I'm like the villain. But you know what? Honestly, I don't care if it makes me a bad person. I resent dogs. I resent their superior status in our society. A grown dog can walk down the street, any street in the town, and just urinate wherever it wants to. I want that privilege. It's kind of like, I want that urinary freedom. And they get away with other very questionable behavior. If I was in my front yard and you're just walking by innocently on your way to the mailbox or something, and suddenly I was like, hey, you, what are you doing? I don't like the look of you. Get away from here. Get away from my house. But that's what dogs do all the time. To be fair, they're usually on a leash, but would it improve your experience if I did that and I was on a leash? I don't know. And dog owners, they always do this thing, they're like, no, Sparky, you naughty dog, stop barking. Come, Sparky, hush, don't bark at the nice lady. That's not very nice, Sparky. And I've never seen a barking dog respond to that ever. Think about it. Have you ever seen a dog that doesn't care that you're saying that. Honestly, it's like this kind of elaborate show to fake apologize for a dog without addressing the situation. And basically, I actually think that subtly, the tone of their voice is actually saying they're saying stop barking, but their tone of voice is "That's right, good dog, Sparky, good boy. You show that dog-hating bitch. Yeah, you scared the shit out of her now, good boy." But my son, he used to have some troublesome behaviors, and if he ran headlong at a kid, started yelling at a kid at the park, maybe licking him, or maybe sniffing his butt, and all I said was "Hey, come on, no, stop that bad boy." How do you think that would go with the other moms at the park? It's just not fair. Sometimes though, it's reassuring to talk to a dog owner because I can complain about my kids and they really get it. Like, I'm like, ugh, he's so loud. He leaves a mess everywhere. I can't leave him alone in the room for 2 minutes. And yesterday he climbed up on the dinner table and he ate half the cake. And the owner is like, yeah, I know, that sounds just like my Sparky. I totally get it. It's just a tricky age. They get easily overexcited. It'll get better. So pet owners really help you, to see the big picture. But it's not quite the same because, like, if you have a really tricky dog, you can trade it in. Like, people do that. I have some friends who did that. And, like, it was a difficult dog, and now they got a new one, and the old one is just frolicking in the field, right? Why can't my son go frolic in a field somewhere on a farm? Like, and their new dog, she's like, oh, it's just delightful. He's so lovely and delightful. Like, why do I get a delightful one? Like, it's not fair. Yeah, I mean, my son is great, but he's a handful. Like, I'm always looking for some parenting advice. This month, I actually found a really good source. This is real. Her site is called Mother Flipping Awesome, right? Kind of a cute name. And she's really good. So I was searching for her Facebook group to join it, and after, so I found it, and then just below I found this other group called Furniture Flipping Advice, before and after. I was like, oh, cool, like that's probably advice for when my son like flips a table or flips, the armchair. He's almost at that point, like this could be really handy. Apparently flipping furniture means something different. But I think it's just his insane energy levels that make him do what he does. Like last week, he was sick for a couple of days. He turned into an almost regular kid. At worst, he'd just idly poke his sister, and then he'd walk away and sit down somewhere. But yeah, like he can be kind of rough. Like, so he's been learning this thing at school called alphabet yoga. So like, I'll show you. So this is what they teach the kids to do. So this is an F. And then this is a K. Yeah, you can see it. And this is a T. Yeah, and I showed him. I was like, oh, cool. Like he taught me some of the letters. And then he saw me doing the T, and he was like, Mom, your T doesn't look good. Like, your butt is too big. A T doesn't have a big round hump in the middle of it. And I was like, oh yeah, last time I saw a T, it wasn't wobbling all over the page and tripping over itself, you unbalanced shithole. But I have to admit, I'm not always the picture perfect mom either. Like, but I mean, who is? Like, parenting is just super hard, right? And I wish we could be more honest with each other about how hard it is, because parents are trying to impress each other, and I think it's like, sometimes it's just obviously fake. Like, I was just in the early on playgroup with my daughter, like I go there, and every time I go, I hear parents saying things like, oh, honey, could you please stop poking mommy in the eye with that sharp toy? Thanks, sweetie. And like, I don't think that's the tone they're using once they go outside and start to put them into the car seat. I think it's more like, let's see how tight this buckle can get. And the reason I suspect it is because I've actually heard that out of my own mouth. Yeah, and here's something else that happens to me in playgroup. So I go to peel a mandarin orange, a handy little snack. So I'm just peeling that orange. A little mandarin for my daughter. Healthy meal. Okay. It's just the way just seems like a good way to peel an orange. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I did it again. Like, it's so inappropriate. I'm just giving these children really unrealistic expectations for the proportions of male genitalia, right? I mean, like, I really should stop that. Okay. So, yeah, I'll just end with this. So I think dreams have a lot to say about us, right? Like, about our hidden longings, our core vulnerabilities, and our deepest unmet needs. Do you guys like to interpret your dreams? Like, think it means something maybe, to explore the subtle details. I've learned a lot about who I am through my dreams. Like, for example, I had this dream a couple of weeks ago. In my dream, I was all alone in the washroom, just standing in front of the mirror, and suddenly I see clumps of red quinoa appearing on the countertop, on the shelves, a little on the floor, just like starting to like gather around the washroom. It was kind of weird. And then I realized I am shitting red quinoa. I'm standing up, and somehow it's just squirting out of my ass in a way as to land on every possible surface of the bathroom. It appeared well cooked, and in my dream, I knew that my husband is about to come home. So I was like, I don't know, he's gonna walk through the door. So I start thinking, shit, like what's he gonna say about all this red quinoa, you know? Because it requires some thought. Like I asked myself, what do I do? Can I just vacuum it up? Like maybe that's appropriate for spilled quinoa, but maybe not appropriate for like butt squirted quinoa, I don't know. Like what if I don't tell him where it came from? And then I was rudely awoken by my son, before I could see how the rest of this dream went. So I'm sorry, I can't really tell you if you end up in that situation, what you would do. You might say, no, this would never happen to me, but you know what, like don't be hasty. Like sometimes dreams have more than a grain of quinoa of truth in them. A few years back, this is very true. I had a dream that I was eating chips out of a bag, but for some reason they were really like soggy and floppy. And then I woke up from that dream and I pulled my own soggy earplug from my mouth. So don't worry, it was fine. I keep a stash of earplugs next to my bed, so I just put a fresh one in. It was fine. All right, thanks everyone.
Keep it going for Marshall Block, everybody!